insane. Call me Mr. Bane, call me what you like. You should call me time in the pen. But you tell the order of the man. Not to compare, lovely dying for a chance just to touch your hand or a moment to share. Can't deny the urge that makes them want to lose themselves to the devil. Told me that the simple fact is that I'm all that, and I'm always there when sexy can't perplex me. Now you know who you are. And then you didn't know before. I know what I want and I want it now. I want you, and then I want a little more.
Okay, so this morning, well, not this morning, let's see. Did I go to bed past midnight? Well, almost past midnight, but so when I went to bed last night, you can feel these entities if they're around you. And I don't know what entity it was. I don't know, but I'm thinking it was one that gave me the dream this morning. Maybe, maybe that's why, he was lurking around, but I didn't really feel him or her take me out of body. Like where I'm awake and they just like pull my astral body out. But they did do it, let's see, the night that they gave me this big pool lucid dream. But anyway, so this morning it was no big deal. Well, actually, 3 mornings ago, I'll just talk about it because it was kind of weird. And I had almost forgotten it, and then I thought, crap, how could I forget that dream, But I have been getting nothing but crappy lucid dreams lately. I mean, they're still okay, but just not like what they normally give me. But yeah, there was like a clear entity. You can feel them, like I say, right when you lay down, you could feel their like magnetism and shit against your body and stuff. And like I say, that could be the one that gave me the dream this morning. That was lurking around last night when I went to bed. But a few days ago, I don't really cook or anything, so I buy a lot of those Amy's meals, but actually the ones that I bought before that weren't Amy's meals, one of them was like a rice with chunks of chicken in it, like cashew chicken, so it's kind of funny. In this dream, they put. In this lucid dream or whatever, they put this, that meal. It's like I was sitting there. I felt like I was sitting in a McDonald's, a very strange McDonald's, in another dimension or reality or whatever. And there's some people sitting around too. Oh, that's another place where they like taking me to. Is placing me down in restaurants like McDonald's and places like that, under these awesome lucid dreams where I feel like I'm in another dimension and crap. Okay, so anyway, so a few days ago, so I was like sitting there it felt like a McDonald's, but the alien didn't really tell me exactly where I was at. And so I was like, well, you know how I heard that there's like parasites in pork? Well, anyway, as I was looking down at my food, but this was like an Amy's meal. But in real life, the Amy's meal doesn't make a cashew chicken. But this was an Amy's meal that I was eating under this lucid dream, and it was the cashew chicken with rice. And I was like eating the rice, and somebody was kind of like telling me, but not like out loud. They were like telling me that there could be like parasites or like maggots in the rice. So I looked down at my rice, and most of the rice was just normal, but I did see about 4 maggots, which were worms basically, parasites. 4 maggots like moving around, and it was just really disgusting. And I just remember thinking, okay, well, this particular meal I just won't ever buy again. And it was just like gross. But yeah, there were clearly 4 maggots. And it looked just like the rice, except they were moving around, so that's why you could tell it was like a worm, like a parasite, like a maggot. But anyway, so, in real life, I'm always looking at all the ingredients, and some of those stupid-ass Amy's meals, it says, alcohol, and so I don't buy that one. I don't buy the one with freaking alcohol in them. It says alcohol to preserve freshness. Well, if it's considered organic, there shouldn't be freaking alcohol in it. So that one pot pie that they make I like, but one of them has alcohol in it. The other one doesn't. Or maybe it doesn't. They're just not putting it on the ingredients. So that was the one weird lucid dream I had a few days ago. But, and then I'll talk about the one I had this morning, like real quickly. And like I say, an entity was lurking around right when I went to bed. But he didn't like pull me out, or she or whatever, didn't pull me out. And so I'm wondering if that being gave me this dream this morning. But basically, they're always sticking me in motel rooms. So they stuck me in a motel room, or he did, or whatever. He stuck me in a motel room, and for a long, long, long time, you know, it's like I was with seemed like my sister and my mom. There could have been some other people there. Yeah, I think there was. I just can't remember who they were because these lucid dreams that I've been having are pretty damn crappy. But yeah, it was like my mom, my sister, there were several other people, but I can't remember who they were. And so anyway, it's like, and I don't know why we went to the motel room, but we were staying in a motel room, and some of them were just like, some of the people already checked out, so I like went outside of my own motel room and was looking at all of the motel rooms that where they already checked out. And most of them were like just trash. And also, I did used to work for motels, so that could be why they stick me a lot in motel rooms. Probably so. And you know, I've stayed at motels many times before too, but I also used to work there just in the summertime, you know, quite a bit, like for several years, just in the summertime. When I wasn't a college student, when college was out or whatever. So anyway, the reptilian stuck me in a motel room, and I know it's the reptilians giving me these. Once in a blue moon, the Greys may give me, or maybe both of them together, might give me these lucid dreams, but it's mainly reptilians giving me all these dreams, lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences, remote views, whatever. It's mainly the reptilians. But, so yeah, so I just, forever and ever and ever, I was in this motel room. And for whatever reason, I walked out of the motel room to look at all the other rooms where the door was already open and everything, you know, because, you know, the doors are open when people check out. Lots of times the maids will come along and prop the door open. And, but yeah, the motel rooms were like freaking trashed. The previous, you know, people that stayed there, they trashed the motel rooms. Okay, so one of the motel rooms I went in where the people had already checked out, and for some reason I somehow knew it was men that had stayed there, at least 2 to 3. Younger guys, like 30s or 20s. I somehow knew that. And they had already checked out. Well, and the motel room was trashed, and I have, you know, been in motel rooms that me and another employee was about to clean or whatever, and it was just like totally trashed. I mean, like totally trashed. But people don't do that very often. Okay, so anyway, there were these 2 turtles that they had left behind. I mean, 2 like big turtles. They were semi-aquatic, and there were 2 semi-aquatic turtles. They weren't quite as big as the red ear slider that I have now, but it was like 2 semi-aquatic turtles that they had left behind, and they were just like running around the motel room, crawling around the motel room, you know, kind of fast. And like I say, they were pretty damn big, like, you know, 3-4 times bigger than Scooter, the red ear slider. But not like quite as big as the one that I have in my yard right now, but I'm going to let her go. And so anyway, I kept debating, like, should I take these 2 turtles that they just abandoned? So finally I did decide to put them in a bag, and I went ahead and took them home or whatever. But and under the whole experience, I was like, oh man, I know what species that is, but I just can't think of it. I just can't think of it right on top of my head. And so I never knew the species, even under the lucid dream. It's like I knew that I've heard of that species before, but I just couldn't think of it. And if I look up the semi-aquatic turtles, I'll know which species that was. And they even looked a little different, you know, than the red ear sliders, because they were, you know, they weren't a red ear slider. They were a semi-aquatic turtle, but a different species, you know, in this lucid dream. And, you know, I had been looking at a bunch of species in real life on other videos and stuff. But yeah, I'll know what species it was if I look it up and everything. But yeah, so I never knew exactly what species it was, but I just, under the lucid dream, I was staring at the turtles and I was just like, I know what species this is, but I just can't think of what it is right now. So I did finally take the turtles because I thought, okay, well, they're not too awfully large, so I could probably go ahead and take care of them. So yeah, they left these 2 abandoned turtles behind, and I did go ahead and take them, but I was debating whether or not I would be able to take care of them. So that was like that second lucid dream or whatever. The one I had on the 17th, I laid down, and I started to feel myself go out of body. So one of the reptilians, they did like still me, and then later on they create dreams for me, or out-of-body experiences, or lucid dreams with that astral body that they just stole. Okay, so anyway, so basically they stuck me in a mall, and this mall was a very strange mall. I don't know where I was at, what town I was in or anything. I just kind of felt like I was in another dimension, another reality, but I was in a mall. And I was walking around, I mean, forever and ever and ever and ever, for hours and hours. And I was with my mom, my grandma, and my aunt. And for some reason, I wanted to go, go around the mall by myself, walk around the mall by myself. And then they went into their own little group and walked around the mall and went shopping. And we did used to do that in real life. Like me and Chrissy, me and my sister, like we would go to Branson, and me and Chrissy would, we would go off by ourselves, and then my mom and my grandma would go off but by themselves. And then about 2.5 hours later, we would meet up and have lunch. Well, this lucid dream, yeah, it was just my mom, aunt, and grandma, and they went off by themselves to go shopping, and then I went off by myself, and I just kept walking around the mall forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And finally, I did meet back with them, and they were standing in line like we were about to go to a buffet. And so they were just standing there, and there's millions of other people standing there. And it was kind of darkish in this, I don't know, what do you call it, like auditorium, whatever. It was like outside the buffet. It just seemed like it was like an auditorium or something. And there's a bunch of people standing there, and then I saw my mom, aunt, and grandma, like as if we were about to go to a buffet, which we used to do, in real life, back at the casinos and stuff. So anyway, so when I was walking around by myself forever and ever and ever at the mall, and I'm forgetting a lot of pieces too, because like I say, the alien's been giving me nothing but crappy lucid dreams lately. But this part was like so cool, so I figured I'd talk about it. So anyway, as I was walking around by myself, I went up to this one display, and there was like these little footies that were like totally like small as like a rolled up cigarette, or no, cigar, about as small as a rolled up like cigar. And I was like, wow. And basically what you did was you just like rolled it all out, and it made into a little footy, like a female stocking that you put over your feet. And so that was kind of cool. It was kind of magical how it rolled out like that. And I know why they did that. I know why he put that in there like that in this scenario, because because I had been looking at hoses lately, like on the internet, in real life, and the hose would be like really, they have some of those hoses that are like really, water hoses that are really small, and they like, once you put water in them, it expanded out really big, but a lot of people said don't buy them because they kept getting holes in them. But anyway, I was just trying to find maybe another water hose to buy or whatever. So anyway, so yeah, it's funny, like aliens will do stuff like that, will put that same kind of thing under your lucid dream, except they may not put the exact same thing. Like, he didn't make it into a hose, he didn't put the hose in my scenario, but he put a little footy in a mall, a display, on display. When I went up to look at the display, it was socks, and then these little footies that totally was as big, compact as like a cigar, and then you picked it up and it just rolled all out magically into a whole big stocking or footy or whatever. So that was kind of cool. And okay, so this other part of the scenario, other part of the scenario, this was the cool part. It's like I don't know, it's like I went upstairs, and some malls do have upstairs. It's like I went on an upper level of the mall. I opened the door, and it was like a college that was attached to the mall. But at this point, you know, I don't know how high I really was, but in the mall or whatever. But I opened the door, and I was on a, what do you call it? A ledge, a balcony. I was on a balcony. I looked down, but I kid you not, at that point, how high I was probably at least, oh my God, I was probably, oh man, like at least 75 stories high or higher. When I opened, and it was a white door, I opened a white door that that was attached to a college. And it was attached to the college pool. And this pool, for some reason, this college was the college I used to go to, SMS. Some reason the aliens put that in there. And this college wanted to have the biggest pool, you know, in the world, basically, or in the United States. So this pool, it was a lap pool. It was completely, you know, rectangle. And it was like 1 mile long. And I don't know why the aliens put that in there, but it was literally 1 mile long. And I looked down, like I say, I was like 75, 100 stories high when I opened these white doors off of the mall. And I looked down, and I was just like, wow, that is the biggest pool I've ever seen. And from right to left, I was thinking like, wow, I wonder how long it would take you to swim from that end to all the way to the other end. And like I say, it was 1 mile long, and you could even look at it and tell it was like 1 mile long. But like I say, I was probably at least 100 stories high when I was looking down at the pool. And I don't know why the aliens put that in there, but they did. I don't know why they made it 1 mile long or whatever. But it was the biggest pool in the world, basically. Or in the United States. And this college is the one that, you know, produced it. Okay, well, so there was another part. Like I say, these lucid dreams have been very crappy lately. Except for this pool. I mean, except for this part. This part was like virtual reality. Because it was like so real, you know. Being up that high and then looking down at the pool. It was so freaking cool. Okay, so after I started thinking like, wow. And like I say, I was super high at that point when I opened those white doors. 2 white doors. And then a few seconds later, my mom just like came barging out onto the balcony. And she kind of like tumbled over. She was about to fall and tumble off the balcony into the pool, which was, you know, 100 stories down below or whatever. And I hurried up and like grabbed her. Like I grabbed her by the legs and pulled her back in. That part was like kind of artificial like. Like I say, they've been giving me crappy lucid dreams lately. But the pool part was just like totally cool, totally virtual reality. And like I say, it was totally 1 mile long.